This one is a brand, PhFragrances, made in grass, and they claim to be better for you, better for health, and for the earth. So I got this box to learn about this brand and to get acquainted with the fragrances. And I guess it depends how you see it. Some might see this box as something good for environment because it's made from recycled materials. For me, this is the opposite of chic, but they say don't judge by the cover, so let's see what the fragrances are about. There's a question I've been asking myself: what is an expensive smell for me? And this is a question I would like to redirect to you. Please comment, what is it an expensive smell for you? Please bear with me and you will understand why I have been asking myself that question. So, PhFragrances. When I went to their website, I saw that the descriptions focus a lot on the sustainable concept of the brand, but what attracted me more is famous names. Each fragrance was created by a very talented perfume maker. I really like when fragrances are named after their main notes, but PhFragrances, they went even further. They added some materials into the names. For example, Neroli and Bergamote of Denim, or the name that attracted my attention is Magnolia and Peonies of Silk. Does not it sound amazing? Of course it does. So I purchased the Discovery set. While I was waiting for my delivery, I was imagining in my mind all these wonderful smells like Tuberose and Ylang of Pashmina, Orris and Musk of Liberty. I was very excited. And when I receive a Discovery set, I always like to have a kind of general sniff to set up the mood. I had a feeling that my nose was punched. I even had to back off a little bit. I started trying these perfumes one by one, day by day, and I'm here to tell you what I think about them. When it comes to smells, I put all the marketing aside. I don't care so much about the packaging, about the concept, and I really focus on the smells. If I had to describe these perfumes in one word, I would say cheap. I'm sorry, but these fragrances, they don't smell like 120 euros per bottle. If I was trying these fragrances blindfolded and someone asked me, what do you think is the price of this perfume? I would say, it's like $20 and please don't give it to me ever again. And it's actually not even about the price tag. In a cheap category, there are some fragrances that smell absolutely amazing. So what is wrong with these smells? I don't claim to be an expert, and this is solely my own perception. What I find is wrong is the way they act. At the beginning, the fragrances hit you with a splash of aromas, and you're just so overwhelmed. And this is the kind of thing that usually cheap fragrances do to you. If you put just one click of these fragrances and you enter a room with 10 to 20 people in there, you will overwhelm everybody with these smells. And these two are the most intense in the set. These are Tuberose and Ylang of Pashmina and Neroli and Bergamote of Denim. Some others are a little less intense, but they act more or less the same way. So at the beginning you have that splash of aromas, but it starts fading away very, very quickly. 1 hour later, there is no sillage, there is no trail, and you can only smell it on your skin. 2 hours later, you can barely smell it on your skin. 3 hours later, it's gone. I don't know if it's a matter of a beet alcohol or something, but when I pay 120 euros per bottle, I would like my fragrance to last longer than 3 hours. To be fair, if you like wearing your fragrances on your hair or on your clothes, they will last a bit longer. By mistake, I layered Gardenia and Jasmine of Cachemire with the sunscreen that smelled a bit like coconut. It actually was a nice combination, it did not irritate me as much, and it stayed longer on my skin. This Gardenia and Jasmine of Cachemire, together with Magnolia Peonies of Silk, they kind of remind me of Jo Malone, particularly Peonies and Suede. And it's because of some molecules that have kind of a sharp texture and they kind of scratch your nose in here. Especially Magnolia and Peonies of Silk. It's like a cheap version of Peonies and Suede by Jo Malone. The sweet opening can confuse you a little bit, but Peonies, they sound very much alike. Meanwhile, Silk in here and Suede in Jo Malone, they don't compete with Peonies. These two at the beginning they come off a little bit sweet. And I realized that this is due to vanilla, which actually is a natural ingredient in both of these fragrances. But this vanilla evaporates very quickly. You are left with this flowery scent that is not very pleasant to me. I actually prefer Jo Malone because it has nice sillage and a longer projection. Other two in the collection that are more intimate are Iris and Musk of Liberty and Mistral and Fleur of Vichy. Mistral and Fleur of Vichy I especially disliked because it has the same kind of aquatic notes that are often present in cheap fragrances for men. Iris, Musk and Liberty is actually not so bad, although I cannot say that this is the best version of Iris. Maybe because it's not Iris, but it's Orris. Strangely, the big bottle has the name Orris Musk of Liberty. Orris is a root of Iris plant. It's way too intimate, there is no projection at all, and it doesn't smell elegance and femininity that I would expect in here. Vetiver and Sandal of Leather. I really like the idea, but I don't like the performance. I was expecting some complexity and layers in here, but this perfume, like all the others of PhFragrances, is kind of flat, has no texture, no pyramid, just boring. Realizing that most of these fragrances, they're kind of flat and they don't have a strong base, made me think the elements that are on the bottle, those are the notes that you actually feel. Yes, there are some secondary ingredients that you might dig out, but they are not so important, and I'm afraid I'm not going to speak about it, and I'm going to cut this video short. The idea of natural and sustainable fragrances has made me question a lot of things. For example, 88% natural. Is it natural enough? And what about the other 12%? And don't forget that 85% of any fragrance is alcohol. In this case, it's beets alcohol. Is beets alcohol really better than regular alcohol? What if the perfume that I use on my skin is not biodegradable? Is it really bad for my skin? Is it so bad for environment? Is it relevant to have a vegan fragrance if I don't know any perfume houses that make experiments on the animals? I certainly know that fragrances produced in France are not toxic because they're subject to very strict European regulations that have the entire list of toxic ingredients forbidden for use in cosmetics and fragrances. But all these questions that I ask myself, unfortunately, I don't have any answers. If you have any comments, please leave them under this video. I have a lot of respect for brands that have elaborate social and environmental responsibility policy, and PhFragrances have done a wonderful job with it. It's great that they use recycled materials. It's wonderful that they help farmers in Africa and little girls going to school in Asia. But when it comes to smells, as I told you, I put everything aside and I care about the smells. And these are not the smells that I would choose for my collection.